secondary business, but thanks for the business idea. Holly, thank you for your time today. I'm going to kick over to Candace. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm going to kick over to Candace and Curtis. I don't know if you guys, I think you guys are in the house. Candace! Secondary business.
Happy Friday.
Holly,
I am so excited to be here for part of Friday Leadership with you, of course, and SVP of Agent Development, Curtis Dixon.
What's up, everybody?
You guys, I think you guys. So, hey, I'm glad to see you two guys. I don't have to see secondary business.
Happy Friday.
So it's great to see you.
I am so excited to be here for part of Friday Leadership with you, of course, and SVP of Agent Development, Curtis Dixon.
What's up, everybody? Thank you. This is an exciting day, so big shout out to everybody that's joining us.
Happy Friday.
First time back
I am
in
so
the
excited to be here for part of Friday Leadership.
Tell everybody how good it is.
SVP of Agent Development, Curtis Dixon.
What's up, everybody? Speaking of how good, this is an exciting day, so big shout out to everybody that's joining us. Thank you for a special gift to share here today. And that gift is that we are recognizing and announcing eXp University's Instructors of the Year. For anybody who doesn't know, if you're new to the family, if you're out in the industry watching us and learning about eXp, our approach to training and education, Candace, is so different. We bring the top producing eXp Realty agents on as instructors that teach and train what they're doing in their business today that works. And these agents volunteer their time to help you, the rest of the eXp family, have what you need to crush it in the real estate business. And today, Candace, we're going to honor some of those folks as our top instructors.
So excited, Curtis. Thank you so much to all of our agent instructors here at eXp University. For 2022, we had over 345 agent instructors who served here in eXp University, delivering over 1,440 hours of live training held in eXp Friday after the NPS 39. And this year, we were able to boast our most agent-centric event ever with over 100 of our eXp agents speaking at either general session or breakouts at eXpCon. So very excited, Curtis, for all of the collaboration. As Beth Silverman said yesterday on Facebook, collaboration is currency. So congratulations to all of our winners. Thank you so much for all that you give, for all the hours, the time that you spend to serve, to tie back to the university and to our amazing eXp agents. So let's hit the video, Curtis, and find out who our winners are.
Well, there you have it, guys. Check that out. I mean, I'm watching that list and I'm looking at that list, and that is some of my favorite people in eXp, and apparently some of your favorite people in eXp too. I love the thing about eXp that I love the most is the collaboration. You've got people on the ground actually doing this stuff, willing to share their secrets, share the insight, and help you do what they're doing and take your business to the next level. So congratulations to every single person that made that list for university. You are all amazing people. I'm proud to know a bunch of you now, and looking forward to seeing what you guys do in 2023. And we're going to see a bunch of them on stage at the Shareholder Summit, I am sure. So my name is Russ Slag, and I want to say thank you for today. Tons of great information. Operations is on it. taking the business to the next level, simplifying, speeding stuff up, and making it easier for you to do business. So you're doing the things that make you more money, not the things that are just back-end business stuff. You've got a couple of things with referrals. We got a home loan, kitty condo loan. You guys caught that? Go to Success Lending, ask them about that. And of course, EXP, thank you very much for all the instructors that showed up this year. I want you guys all to stay tuned for Iconversations. That's coming up next. We've got some amazing people going to be showing you what they do to take their business to the next level. My name is Russ Lag, and I will see you next week on Friday Fire. Have a good one.
All right, everybody. Happy Friday. Tell me that was not an amazing leadership meeting. I want to do a couple of housekeeping tips for you all, but let's all test the chat right now. Everybody drop some ones in the chat. Show some love for the icons on the stage. I'm Brian from the Icon team. I hope to know each and every single one of you out there in the audience today. So I'm going to ask you to stay for this entire Iconversations, because this is a very, very lit and special Iconversations, because at the end, we are going to want to hear from you. So a couple of housekeeping tips that we've got for you today. Keep your mics muted. Raise your hand if you've got a question. We will relay that to our icons, and we're going to listen to some music right now, apparently. So, yes. We'll relay that information to our icons for you in the chat. We're going to listen to this music right now. Thanks for putting up with that, y'all. If y'all want to test your mics, you can open them, say good morning, test your raise hand function.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's all, everybody, good morning. Good morning. EXP proud.
Good morning.
1, 2, 3. EXP Realty proud.
Realty proud.
Say it. Say it.
Realty proud.
Y'all can do better than that. Come on. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Go.
1, 2, 3. Realty proud.
Yeah. Now let me tell you, that's one way to bring up the bandwidth in this auditorium for audio. All right, drop some ones in the chat. Let's test that out again. Come on, let's go. Bring a level up here and like no other. We're gonna burn this down today. All right, y'all. Just keep your mics muted. Put your questions in the chat or raise your hand. If you're having some computer lag, there is a little button called Stage Zoom next to where you're typing those ones in the chat. Click that, and that's going to take some pressure off your computer if you're just listening in the background, because we have a power-packed hour for iConversations. For today, from Pennsylvania, we have Diane Cardano Casquillo.
Hello.
Hi, Nguyen from Texas. Michelle Kennelly from Ontario. Haley Beeler from Texas. And our moderator today is Jessica Nieto from California. Can we all drop some chats and love in the box for them one more time before I dim the lights and get this lit up? All right, yes. Jessica. Hey, Jessica.
Hey, good morning. They wanted to play the music to bring me on again, I see. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, they did. Well, let's all test our mics on the stage, each and every one of you icons. If you'll open up your mics and say hello and introduce yourselves, as Jessica is going to take the stage now.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Jessica Nieto in California with EXP Realty. Diane, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Diane Cardano from Philadelphia.
Hey, Huey. How are you? Good morning. Awesome. And if everyone could mute your mics as you're coming in, so glad you're here. But if you want to eliminate the echo, please do mute your mics. Good morning, Michelle. How are you?
Good morning. Michelle Kennelly here from Napanee, Ontario, Canada.
Awesome. Hallie, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Coming in here from San Angelo, Texas.
Awesome. Hey, I'm super excited to be moderating Iconversations panel today, and I am confident that we're going to bring the most fun, exciting, and action-packed panel today with these Icon agents and an audience filled with our EXP family. And so, Icons, let's bring that fire today for this audience. Our main goal here is to bring tips and tricks of the trade that they can leave this audience, go right into action. So everyone that's listening, make sure you have a notepad, whether it's your Mac, your computer, your pencil and paper. You've got to take some notes so you can jump into action. So panelists, we're going to jump right into talking about plugging in today, because that's what we all want to focus on. So personally, I'm always at the Friday leadership meeting each week, whether it's in the auditorium, live on YouTube, because I want to know what's coming, what can I plug my team into, what do I, not want to miss out on. So I'm going to run through each of you. I want to know what's the one thing on your calendar this year that you would encourage everyone in the audience to add to their calendar right now. So what's happening at eXp Realty that's on your calendar, Diane?
On my calendar is social media, really getting out there and repurposing all my social media on all platforms, which I just starting to do now, and it's pretty incredible.
I love that. That sounds incredible. Tell me a little bit more about that. I know posting once or twice can have impact, but there's obviously planning and consistency. What's the one challenge that you're finding that you're through with social media right now?
Well, it's about accountability and doing the work. I could do the same thing I've always done, and that's just going to get me the same things, which is nothing. So if I'm doing something, it's just being more accountable to when I say I'm going to shoot video, I'm going to do it, and allowing myself to be more accountable. And that's the thing, the most important is just you have to get out and do the work and schedule in your calendar social media. So maybe for me, I have going to be doing on Saturdays, doing all my videos and then giving them to the social media company, and they'll go out and they'll put them together for me, and then they'll post them for me. So it's like actually the most important thing is putting the time away to shoot the videos and figuring out like what's the most important topics, So that's for me, is getting it into your calendar and then actually doing it.
I love that. I love that. Sharing a bit more about that. Sounds a lot like things that people could jump into. Shareholder Summit coming up soon is learning about how to be consistent with social media. Let's jump over to, sorry about that. Let's jump over to Huey. Huey, what's on your calendar this year with eXp Realty that everyone wants to add to their calendar today? Awesome tips. I love that, Huey. And we'll put lots of links in the chat, but you can find all this on the eXp calendar. Michelle, how about you? What are you plugging into? What's on your calendar that we need to add today?
So I'm just plugging more into some of the courses that are being taught in the eXp University. Last year I taught in there and I didn't have a chance to actually watch a lot of or be a part of a lot of sessions. So that's sort of my goal this year, is to start learning and plugging into a lot of the courses, because there's so many. amazing speakers. There's so many amazing classes. So why not tap into them? And even though, you know, I am an Icon agent going into my third, hopefully soon, I can always learn, or I can always have a refresh. So even if it is something that you think, oh, that's back to the basics, that's definitely a good place to start. So I think in 2023, this is a great time to get back to the basics and back into some of the university courses here that people are teaching.
I love that. How about you, Hallie? Anything on your calendar that we should add?
So, oh gosh, I'm sorry. As soon as
A
I
new
opened
dog.
my mic, the dog barked. Gosh. So I guess in terms of an everyday item that I have plugged in, it's going to be video for me this year. Just simply put, for the purposes of leveraging my time. You know, if I'm out cold calling people, I have to speak to one person at a time. But if I'm doing video, specifically long form, you know, in an evergreen content form, I can reach thousands of people with the same video and take, you know, 30 minutes to make that video instead of, you know, 30 minutes to talk to one person. So video for me, and then also just as an event, shareholder summit this May. Can't wait.
And we'll see you there. I'm super excited. I love what you're talking about in terms of it really automating what you're doing, so you're showing up more often than you could even possibly exist, right? We know, for example, I love the word omnipresence. So how much more often can you be present on the screen or where other people are showing up or potential clients without actually physically being there? So I love that. I want to jump into something that Holly Maybury was just talking about in our Friday leadership meeting. She's talking about the new automated referral process, not having to go back and forth with the paperwork. What I wanted to hear from you, icons, from each of you, is when you have an amazing client to refer to someone, an agent at EXP, you're looking for the perfect agent to refer these great clients of yours. I want to hear from you, what are the top 1 or 2 qualities that another agent exemplifies that stands out from the rest? Because we all know those chats blow up. You know, I've got a hot referral in Southern California and, you know, your phone's ringing and everything else. So outside of years of the business or experience, what are the top 1 or 2 things that, you know, that really close the deal for you giving that referral to that agent that you just met? Feel free to jump in on this one.
I'll jump in.
This
is Hallie. So for me, I personally I immediately go to Instagram to see if they have an Instagram profile. Not that that's the end all be all, but for me, social media is the easiest way for me to get to know someone from afar. And then if I know them, I can, you know, begin to like them and therefore trust them. And then I know my client can too. But it just gives me a little bit more, you know, just a little bit more about them so I can see if they're a good fit for my client or not.
That's
I'm
interesting.
totally the same way as Hallie. So I go to Instagram as well, and I try and get feel the vibe of that person, and, you know, are they funny? Do you think they'll be relatable to my clients? I honestly use Instagram as a search engine all the time, and, you know, head to YouTube, see if they're doing stuff there, know if they're knowledgeable, if they even trade in that area, or if they're just trying to like go outside that area just for a check. So super helpful to go to Instagram for sure.
How about you, Huey?
That's good. I like that. This is Diane. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. My thing is that I look through the social media thing, but it's really important. I do see the reviews. I look at reviews. I look at their team. I look on Zillow to see if they have a team. You know, I look at on the other things like that, and also I find out how much of their business is by referral. Because if they're just the type of people who just go out and they're cold calling all the time, and they don't have, and they've been in business for 10 years and they don't have any referral base, then they're not really servicing their clients. They're just going out, they're deal hunters. I'm looking for people who want to be consultants, who are connecting with their clients, who have a tribe, things like that. And of course, look at their website as well.
I love that. A lot of things to focus on in terms of referrals. You know, I actually personally exchanged 2 referrals this past week with other EXP agents that I had never met before, and now, of course, have new partners that I know across the country. And one of the things, like you were talking about, Huey, was about the energy exchange. And so it's really like, imagine you're talking to a client for the first time. You know, you want to, and that's the feedback that I get and that I love. I enjoy getting that feedback, is like, oh, I love your energy. Wow, what a great compliment. So if you don't win the referral, might not be personal. Maybe there were just too many to pick from. Maybe you'll get the next one. But be curious about what you could have done better. So that's one of the things that you could do, is call that person back. Did you miss out on the referral? Call them back. Hey, I hope the referral went great. Congratulations. What do you think I could do better next time? I really want to up my game on winning referrals. So I want to jump right back into talking about ourselves. So we're talking about differentiators. How can we be best to win referrals? So let's talk about being an average agent versus being the best agent. I'd love to hear from each of you. What is the average? If the average agent does this, you do what? So what is something that maybe an average agent does that you differently? We'll start with you, Diane.
I would say everything. So, I mean, seriously, but I think that for most part for me, I have 3 client events every year. And I think what I do differently is I actually build deep. I don't go out there looking for a bunch of clients that I don't know or don't trust me, don't like me. I go out and I look for people who I've worked with before and their database. So for me, that is what I do. I think it's very important to have the client connection. You know, giving them a call on their anniversary. You know, connecting with them by text message, call, a complete communications, or what I do for all my clients. So I call them, text them, send them like a little video, and also sometimes 3 times a year, I have my top 100, top 100 people, and just focusing on the people who like you, trust you, who know you. And I think a lot of agents are just out there looking for that quick deal. They're not in it to win it. I've been doing this for 30 years. So, I think that's the most important thing, is just to differentiate. We actually have clients who introduce us to, I just get at least 20 to 30 every year just from my clientele, past clients.
Wow, that's powerful. Love that. Huey, how about you? Nice. Love that. Michelle, how about you?
So right off the get-go, we have we have a group that's nationwide here, and people ask for referrals all the time. And my number one thing is me not reaching out to them and trying to, add them as a friend or bombard people, because I know for me, that's the one thing I can't stand is like getting 10 phone calls or being texted or emailed or whatever 100 times from all these agents who you can tell are just really hungry. I like to be the agent that's, hey, I'm here to help, happy to help if I can. Here's my information. Feel free to reach out anytime. More of like a soft approach, because like being aggressive just kind of gets you nowhere. With referrals sometimes, especially when someone is in a position where they're, it's their clients, it's they're trusting you with their baby kind of thing. So you kind of easing into it a little more gently. A lot of times when I do get a referral, I do send a card and a gift card to that agent right away, regardless of if it's going anywhere or not, or getting to completion or not. It's just, hey, thank you so much for the referral. Appreciate it. I'm looking forward to working with these clients and taking care of them as well as you do or have in the past. I'll keep you posted throughout the process, and then breaking it down with referrals. With between agents, it's like, I'm going to keep you in the loop as much as you want to be kept in the loop. So you let me know. We have that conversation right off the bat, and then making sure all the paperwork is in order and in place. And then even when it comes to my clients who refer me other clients, it's rewarding them as well. It's, hey, I was thinking about you. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Here's a card. Here's a gift card to my favorite restaurant, or here's a set of candles from the local candle pourer, whatever. So I really do try and go above and beyond and make sure everyone is happy and needs are met, and the experience just overall is amazing for every party involved.
I love that. Yeah, and people love to be thought of, right? I love those words. I was thinking of you. How about you, Hallie? What's the differentiator for you in the market? If an average agent does X, what do you do differently?
So for me, I'm all about providing consistency and value. I think it's really easy for agents to, they make a plan and say they're going to do it, but they get busy, like we all do, and drop that consistency. So I make it a point, and I feel like I can attribute a lot of my success to this is, when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it consistently. And I'm not even, even when I get busy, I'm going to time block it and make it a non-negotiable. And then taking that a step further, if I'm any content I'm making or whatever I'm doing, I'm making sure to provide more value than other agents. Especially the ones that I'm competing against for other clients, or that I guess that I'm in competition with. But for me, it's really providing consistency and value, and taking that just exponential steps further than other agents.
Woo! Heard a lot of good words in that one. Consistency, exponential. I love it. So we're talking about differentiators. I wanted to jump into something that a lot of people are talking about right now, which is ROI. So we talk about what is the return on investment on the tools, the technology, and time. What are we spending our time on? And then how often are we analyzing those things? Are we doing it quarterly, annually, monthly, weekly? How are we looking at these things? So I want to hear from each of you. How often are you analyzing the return on investment of your time? So what you spend your time doing and what you spend your money on. So, are there certain tools? Who in the audience, if you could all raise your hands in the audience, it would be hilarious to see them all go up, because I would raise my hand. We're all spending, subscribe to all these shiny objects. So how often are we analyzing the things that we're spending our money on? And then after that, we're gonna jump into what are the one or two things that we might have ditched or adopted recently that had good or bad ROI. So how often are you all analyzing the things, the ROI on the things? Huey, well, let's start. Honesty is good. That's what we want. Yui, let's also share one more fascinating thing about one of the tools you just shared. How much does BombBomb cost you, or video? How much does it cost you a month to use video to reach out to your audience in your business? Zero, right? Because we can jump into KV Core, we can send video to all of our sphere. So love that. That's a really good tool for you all. Zoom also. So Zoom, depending on how you're using, what capacity you're using it for. I know the Young Professionals Network, they're using Zoom. They were in a mastermind this morning and they were worried about it exceeding the 100 users. So that's where you can, if you're growing your audience, there's some good investment opportunity to spend a little bit more. How about you? Let's jump to Diane. Diane, how often are you analyzing the ROI on your time or tools? And there's something with us that ditched or you've adopted that has good ROI.
Well, for tools, I have QuickBooks, and so I use QuickBooks to look at that every month, so, or even more. And I also have a profit. I use Google Sheets for a profit and loss sheet, and I could put like one number in and decide, well, should I do that or not? I can know right away whether or not it's something I want to spend the money on, and because it would give the right ROI. So for me, I only do two things. So as far as tools, I use Zoom, and I have Zoom Webinar because I do real estate web seminars online, and I use the webinar for that. And so other tools I use Calendly for my schedule, so then someone could schedule something for me with, they could just schedule themselves on my schedule. But I do look at everything very often, and I was just looking at my QuickBooks when you were doing this call, and I was noticing how, what my ROI, it was funny because the biggest ROI I have is for clients, and the clients, obviously I do client parties, so I'll probably spend with mailings and everything, the clients, probably about $35,000 for the year, and the return's like exponential. So that's my biggest ROI. And I also do the seller, I do radio advertising, and that ROI has gotten less and less. I'm keeping an eye on that one. But they're the two that I do, and I do look at them all the time because I want to spend at least 10 to 1, as far as return on investment, things like that. But other tools I've used other than Calendly and Zoom and QuickBooks, I use a VA, a virtual assistant from the Philippines. She's like a tool for me because I've actually used Loom, and on Loom I could videotape my screen, and then I can put all these processes together. And I'm also doing the Zoom for processes for our clients. So if our clients list with us, they get a list of videos to watch. Here's your signs going up, here's how that works. Lockbox is going on, here's how that works. So they're totally communicated with the whole process using Loom, and I use KV Core to send those text messages out on a little schedule. So KV Core is big. I use HomeBot. HomeBot's awesome. Everyone loves HomeBot. That's a house evaluation form and tells them about their mortgages, and then you have to have a lender to hook you up with that. And that's been really, really helpful, is using HomeBot. There's some of the things I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I probably have more, but that's
HomeBot. We should have a whole conversation about that.
Yeah, right. I mean, my clients love it, and as soon as other tools we use are, I don't know if it's a tool, but we use this thing called Fun Day Monday. So every Tuesday, first Monday of the month, second Monday of the month, my CRM sends out a little quiz question, and that's a tool of that going through this process that I use. People, like, I get 75 to 85 people that respond, and then you have the permission now to call them, so that's kind of cool too. It's like sending some kind of quiz out, but that's probably off topic. But anyway, I probably think of some more, but they're the things I use now. The Calendly is really awesome though. Also, I'll get up this morning, I'll have like 3 things in my calendar that I didn't know that was perfect. My day gets scheduled for me.
I love that. Yeah, and Calendly for me specifically, it helps, with the agent attraction as well, just in terms of creating different types of Calendly links so that you can kind of, set the time that you want to meet about that topic.
That's awesome. If you go to my Diane's calendar, you'll see I have like 9 different things because because you don't want to have agent attraction at a certain time of the day. You don't want something like that, type of thing.
Love it. Thanks for sharing. Michelle, tell us about the ROI on your time and maybe one tool. And let's try to keep it short on the next couple so we can run through and get to some more topics too.
So I'll go.
Absolutely.
This is Hallie again. So I personally like to analyze my systems and tools once a month, and then I reflect back at 6 months and look back at the past 6 months as well. For me, what I've ditched all paid leads. Like I don't do realtor.com leads. I don't do Zillow leads. Not that they're bad, they're just not for me. And I found more effective ways to gain leads. What I've kept, I hear a lot about, you guys are all talking about Calendly. I've actually taken that a step further. I found an app, well, it's an app and a desktop app called Motion, and it's like Trello, Calendly, Google Calendar, and Google Tasks all meshed into one. It's awesome, and I think I paid about $220 for the year for it, and it's just made me that much more efficient. I've been using ChatGPT a lot, and my third one, I am in Marty Heeman's, it's called the Buzz Marketing Group, and it's all about how you can become an expert on Facebook groups. So those are my systems and tools.
I love that you brought up ChatGPT because I wanted to actually use that as a question. So I'm going to jump into this. Everyone, you've heard about ChatGPT. I'm sure we all have our own sort of opinion about it or our perspective about this tool so far. And I think, it's controversial at this time because number one, not everyone in this room maybe knows how they're going to use it, how they're going to apply it, and kind of how it's going to help you take your business to the next level. I personally, my philosophy is that I love it because you can create lots of content and then you can focus on the polishing and the authenticity, right? So does anyone want to jump in here? Huey, do you have any feedback on ChatGPT? Number one is, are you using it? What's one thing you used it for? And then what's your philosophy on ChatGPT and why?
It's Diane here. I'm using it. I've been using it for about 30 days, and I'm using it for writing letters to my clients. Every month I write a letter with giving them like a gift certificate or something. And I just put the letter in there and it made it sound so much better. And I'm also using it for, if I want to send an email to somebody, I'll put it in there first to make sure it's grammatically correct, and it just makes me sound a lot better. And I'll even use it for text messages.
Yeah, and maybe sound better, but it really kind of beefs it up, right? And then you can look through like you said.
Yeah.
How about you? I love that. I also just shared success.com has a special, I think, here we go. Yep, a link for Jasper. So if you want to try it out, they do have, what do you call, like tryout subscriptions or trials available. So go and see if it's good ROI, if it answers some questions for where you're spending too much time. Does anyone else want to jump in on AI automation, ChatGPT?
Yeah, I will. So I've been using it a ton. Just like I don't like to copy and paste whatever it spits out, but I do use it to get started or just get my creativity started. I am constantly asking, like you can say, write me a listing description for a 3-bed, 2-bath house near Angelo State University with granite countertops, a big backyard, yada yada, and it will spit out like literally the most human sounding, and like, I mean, you can even change the tone on it. It's super fun, and even just to mess around with. The app that I use on my phone and that I've really liked is OpenChat, and it is $5 a month. I know a lot of people are using Jasper as well on desktop. I've heard Grant and Elena Cardone are using it, are using Jasper, and I know Haas Pratt, another big EXP guy, he's using Jasper. I liked OpenChat just for now, as I'm, you know, just, I think Jasper might be a little bit more intuitive, but OpenChat has worked well for me, and I believe it's a little bit cheaper too. I'm also using it to spark ideas for generating video content. So, you know, like I can write in it, what are some good video content ideas for real estate agents? I've also used it, you know, on the fly for doing math. So let's say, what's the monthly payment on a $285,000 house with a 20-year note and a 5-year balloon and a 9% interest rate. This, I mean, I'm just throwing this out as an example, and it'll take 5 seconds to spit that out. But you do have to be careful. So I was kind of testing out how recent its knowledge is, and I've like now I know that I think its knowledge, this is the beta form, at least on OpenChat, this is the beta form that they just came out with, and I think it only has data up to 2020. So when I asked, like, this is just an example, I asked, what are current interest rates looking like? And it gave me that 30-year mortgages are ranging from 2.85 to 3.25%, which we all know that's not the case anymore. So you just have to be aware of things like that. But I really like it, like I said, for just sparking my creativity when I'm trying to create content. And yeah, it really helps, you know, when you're switching from, you know, skill to skill. So yeah, and I put those in the chat too.
Wow, you know a ton about this. I love it. Thank you so much. Let's move on from all this Chat GPT stuff. I hope you all are taking notes on that so you can revisit how it could have good ROI in your business. I wanted to, though, jump into talking about time to execution, because this really, I think, is the next layer of talking about tools and time. So Kenny Fast, for example, runs the #1 small team in California. If you don't know Kenny Fast, look him up. His name's Kenny Trong, the Fast team. And he talked last week about, you know, what is the time between you have an idea to the time that you try it out. So whether you're going to fail or succeed, how much time in between writing down this note, that something you're learning here, a gold nugget that you heard from someone in this audience, or sorry, on the, you know, in this panel, to the time that you try it. So I wanted to hear from you all, how many decisions are you making a day? Because this all has to do with that assessment, right? Analyzing, is something working, is it not? What advice can you give the audience about time to execution with anything that they think is a good idea today? Jump in, anyone that wants to start.
I'll start off. So I actually learned this from Levi Lassick. I had him recently. I do a show. This is not me promoting, but I do a live show, and every week, and I had Levi on, and he talks a lot about hyper learning. So he says that you should take 60 days to really hyper learn whatever. Like for him, he was hyper learned YouTube, and I think, yeah, time to execution. Yeah, so I think 60 days to hyper learn it, and then he said another 60, or no, he says another year after that to stay consistent with it and try it out. So that obviously he's done well, so I trust his opinion on that.
Yeah, he sort of did well with that, right?
Yeah. Did I answer all the question, or?
Yeah, no, I love that, hyper learning. So can you add on to that or unpack a little bit more about hyper learning? What are 5 ways, do you think, or one way that you could hyper learn? What are the things that you need to do to hyper learn a topic or a skill?
Yeah. So my big things, and are things that Levi said as well. Go on Amazon, look up all the books that are available on your topic. So like for him, we'll stay on the YouTube idea as an example. YouTube for real estate agents, you can, or just YouTube in general, search that on Amazon and look at the books. Podcast, that's a great free way to hyper learn. What else? YouTube. I
Yeah,
guess
EXP
even just
University,
Googling like
right?
blogs. So
Yep.
that would be, I'm all about the free ways. And then if I can, throw in some cheaper books on Amazon about it.
Yeah, or
And then even
Audibles,
maybe like
right?
DMing some people that are doing well in it, or look on Google and see if they've done any interviews on YouTube. So I would say those are the best ways. And even, just take time out, get off the Game of Thrones or whatever you're watching, and instead of watching, mindless TV, watch something on YouTube about what you're interested in executing.
That's all great advice. Does anyone else want to jump in? How are you hyper learning, and how are you, making quick decisions so that you can, try out new things, find things that stick and don't?
I can jump in here. So for me, okay, so ChatGPT, I have not been on it. I think I was like put on some sort of wait list thing for it. I don't really understand what's happening. Not huge in my area. I have a very small area that I work. But here's the thing. I just listened to all of you guys mention some other options. So now I'm thinking, okay, if that can help me say write property descriptions in 5 to 10 minutes, if that can help me come up with content for my social media in seconds or minutes, why wouldn't I carve out some time, specifically putting it into my calendar, put the time in? I'm going to learn ChatGPT or some sort of AI system, which is going to help all my other, any other task that I need to do in less time. That turns out to be a high leverage activity. Yes, you have to be the one that used it. You can't just pass it off to your admin. Sometimes you can. But yeah, for me, it's like, okay, if that's going to lead to a high leverage activity later on, I need to put the work in. I need to carve out the time and put it into your calendar. Don't just say, oh, I have a to-do list, I'm going to write it down, I'll do it at some point, I'll get to it, because you're not going to get to it if you don't do it right away. And if you don't schedule it into your calendar properly, you're going to forget about it. That piece of paper gets thrown out or your kid starts drawing on it. You just got to do it right away.
Oh man, you are bringing the fire. I love that. And you brought up such a good point, which is calendaring the things that you're going to execute. I love that. I personally do that. Have I done it forever? No. But I think, everyone in the audience, you should know that the difference between making $100,000 in income to $1 million in income is calendaring the money-making activities. It's calendaring those things. And
So important.
right. And you can hear all these great ideas from everyone, wherever you're showing up and gathering the information, you're doing that part right. And then you're writing down the notes. And then some items can seem so complex, like, I don't know all about this. So one thing that you can write down is the word chunking. So write that down and really study what that means, because what you can do is you can break down all of the complex information that you're hearing into these smaller, more manageable chunks, and then you can calendar those things. So I'm like, for example, you're going to try ChatGPT, like you said, when you jump off. What are you going to try with it? Well, the things that take you a bunch of time, you're going to write down a list of a couple things that take too much time and see how that automation might be able to help you. Let's jump over. Anyone else want to hop in?
Huey, I live by this quote: small and sucky beats being stucky. Just do it.
That's a really good quote. I absolutely love that. Let's see. So I want to jump to a totally different topic because this is one that I don't want the audience to miss. We have 106 people in the audience. So they're all here. Obviously, we're interested in the conversation. We're talking about a lot of hot topics, but I don't want this day to end. So I want to make sure we start with this now. At EXPCon in 2022, my favorite thing is the way that Glenn Sanford led a conversation about health and wellness. So me personally, that's one of my top goals is health and wellness, because I find that the more choices I make about my health and my family and having that balance and that good health in life, that everything else follows. So I know there's a couple experts in here about health and mindfulness. Tell me what's one or two things that you're doing to make sure that that's on the calendar.
It's Diane here. So for me, I have 4 things besides real estate. Real estate is my passion, but the other is, just making sure I move every day, some kind of movement, whatever it is. And then I do a lot of the meditation and breathing, and they're very important things. And of course, eating is cutting out sugar. So they're my 4 things besides I work hard on every day besides real estate to really try to cut out the sugar, and to get to the gym, to get to bed on time. So I wake up at 5 a.m. and I can get to the gym and get it all done before all that stuff for me, working on yourself inside will make you better as a consultant for the clients and for your husband and people around you. So I think just making it part of your practice every day.
Awesome. Who else wants to jump in?
I'll follow up on Hallie here. Diane, I love what you said about meditation and breath work. That has been huge for me for managing stress. It's easy to get overwhelmed in the real estate business and stressed out, especially with such a client-facing focused business. I like to do the breath work in the morning because sometimes I get super sleepy with meditation. So I save meditation for night and do breath work in the morning. I use Othership. I use the free, you can pay for it, but I use the free recordings on there for breath work. And then the other thing that's really helped me here lately is the new Viome partnership we have with Success Health. I did that after EXPCon, and it's just totally transformed the way I feel, truly. So like, for example, I found out that I'm not supposed to be eating tomatoes or bell peppers because I have some virus in my stomach that when I eat those, it attacks it or attacks the food and causes inflammation. So yeah, now I don't have as much heartburn. But yeah, and then they give you, customized supplements and pre and probiotics. And it's just, I really do feel like it's made me more focused and helped me to be more efficient. So I really do think everyone should check those out.
I am super enjoying Viome. My wife and I got on it right after EXPCon as soon as I could get it in the mail. And same thing, tomatoes for me. The funniest thing is I was taking a certain route to deal with inflammation, and it turned out that was causing my inflammation. So it was super fun. So Viome is awesome. If you all want to search Viome on Workplace, it'll pop up. Success Health has an actual discounted option. So it's a really, really fun process, a discovery process about your body, what's going on, and then also some supplements to help you get to your health goal and be biologically younger every day that's my goal this year. Anyone else want to jump in on health and wellness?
I do have one other thing I think would be really good for people to type in privatework.com. Every morning I try to work things out before I act it out. And I've been doing this with my coach, Joe Stumpf, and it's free, and it's called privatework.com. And just kind of, if I have a big decision to make, I kind of work it out with myself first, and then I get some good answers. That's another thing.
I'll hop on next. Oh. Yeah. So I have a 3.5-year-old. I am up every single day with him at 6 a.m. I do not have time in the mornings to do meditation as much as I would love to do it, or yoga or something. So for me, I try and break it down into a really manageable life and work schedule for everyone. So my main thing that I stick to is I do play soccer all year round, but besides that, it's getting in the mindset of, okay, I know I won't have time to work out in the morning, and I also won't have time to work out at night because I'm putting my son to bed and doing all that routine, and then I'm just absolutely pooped. So it's finding other times throughout the day to either head to my gym. I have a gym downstairs, so either head there, maybe at noon or something, or, fitting in, putting him to bed and then doing, 20 minutes of yoga. So that way I can also fit in 20 minutes to read. So it's not just having to go full ham at a workout all the time. It's like, okay, I get 20 minutes here, or I get 5 minutes there. In those 5 minutes, I can do, a few different yoga poses, or I can do some squats, or I can squat from one side of my house to the other. So it's not, for me, it's finding the times in between all the other times.
You are a better human than me. You have found a way to squat in between, like, where you show up in the house. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, like I go to the furthest bathroom from my office in my home every single time. I walk past the other bathroom because it's like, okay, those 5 extra steps or 20 extra steps or whatever it is, or I'm gonna run downstairs and upstairs to grab something super quick, or I'm going to walk to the mailbox, which is, 500 meters away from me. So just choosing different things, and of course, changing eating habits, eating a bit healthier, putting more greens in my diet. But I highly recommend anybody for a new book this year, Atomic Habits. It really changed the way I do everything in my life. So Atomic Habits by James Clear. Read that first and then go about your life, because I promise you it'll improve it. Even by 5%, it'll improve it. That's amazing.
Amazing that 3 of us, so 4, Brian as well. She looked at, so many people have heard of Atomic Habits. It truly is an amazing book. Okay, I love what you share. That was so much fun. I don't know if I'll implement it right away, but I'll try. Squats. Okay, so good information. I want to jump over to good information or great knowledge helps us make great decisions. So often we're working on our skills, we're working on our knowledge, we're sharpening those skills in real estate, how we're going to build business, add more value to our clients, be better humans, do squats across the house. But what I want to talk about is the power of proximity. So I personally, want to be within proximity of people that have already accomplished the things that I want to accomplish this year. So we've got the shareholder summit coming up, but we also have a lot in between and afterwards. So how are you all getting in proximity with the people that you want to be more like in terms of what they've accomplished, or just how they're showing up? Talk to me about power of proximity.
I can jump on this.
I love that. And that's the reaching up and reaching down, right? So whatever you're reaching up for and is being given to you, you're reaching down and giving that back to grow and develop new leaders. I love that. Does anyone else want to share?
I do the same as Huey, honestly. Tapping into my upline is huge. I'm a part of the Honey Badgers Nation, which is massive. There's some really, really big players. So anything that they are doing at any time, if there's a Facebook Live that they're chatting about one thing, or there's a session on something else, I'm in it. I'm watching the replay. I'm doing all of that stuff. And then also when I get into a room, and this is really important advice, is, you know, you get into a room with some big fish, just you close your mouth and just listen. Just don't say a word. Just take in all the information that people are saying, because you are the little fish. You want to absorb all that stuff. And then again, passing that stuff down. So when you're in a room with smaller fish, you know, and you're speaking, you really hope that somebody else would stop and just listen and take that advice to heart. Yeah, and staying humble.
I love that advice. And also ask really good questions, right? So speaking of questions, I think it's 9:39 Pacific time. It's 12:39 Eastern time. I'd love to jump if anyone in the audience, if you want to throw your question in the chat, or if you wanted to jump in, raise your hand. We'd love to, you know, if you have any questions for anyone up in the audience. I know we had one question actually that came over a little bit earlier. Brian, you were putting that in there. We were talking about referrals, I believe. Where do you find referrals? I believe it was. Questions time. Yep. I can't find the question. Does anyone have a question?
Ooh, that's a good question. Where do you find your referrals?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
I am super present on social media, on Instagram specifically. I engage with a ton of people in their stories, like back and forth, messaging people. So it's really, really important, and it's really cool. I've gotten a ton of leads from Instagram. Someone might comment on like my glasses, and then we start a whole conversation, and then they tell me their, you know, mother-in-law and father-in-law need to sell, and then boom, I'm set up with those people, and off I go and I sell their house. So connecting with people is super, super huge. I found a referral from my dental hygienist. I just had a conversation with her, and her best friend was moving back from a different area, and bam, I'm now working with them. So I think for me, having conversations with people, and I know COVID has really changed the, you know, you can't, a lot more face-to-face things are not happening, but if you're in the coffee shop, go and chat with whoever's in line, or you're at the grocery store, ask, you know, and there's a big game on, oh, you're loading up on snacks, that's so exciting, who are you cheering for? Let that conversation happen naturally, and I bet you it'll lead back to real estate. So yeah, for me, referrals from social media, from my sphere, super important, just to be following up with people and reaching out and starting those conversations.
I love that. And thank you, Barbara, for adding the new exprealty.com referrals. Speaking of automation, new system to send or receive referrals has just gotten super fast. So I love it. And it's consistent upon, you know, across the US. I'm not 100% sure how that's working globally, but I know for sure it's working here in the US. Does anyone else have questions, or anyone here on the stage have any questions for each other? We all just met today, by the way. I know Huey, but I've never met any of you ladies, and I've really enjoyed the time with you. Any questions? You're good. A couple things, I'll just jump back in then if there's no questions at the time, is let's just talk about EXP shareholders coming up. What else should be on your calendar? If this is the first time, if anyone in the audience, can you put in the chat, is this your first time? And number one, being at Iconversations, two, for anyone that comes regularly, or three, that, you know, if you want to come more often, just put some feedback in the chat. We're super grateful that you spent all this time with us. Hopefully you have tons of nuggets to take back to everyone on your team, or to your prospective clients, some new value. You can see the names here on the stage and on the graphic. So anyone that you see on stage, we're here for you. So if you wanted to reach out, trying to get in proximity with some people that have achieved icon status, reach out, send a message, you know, engage, start the conversation. That's how we create new friendships, is by reaching out. There's tons of stuff coming on. We're going to be celebrating Black History Month next month. And there's some new graphics in the EXP announcements about some amazing things happening there, including some Benji awards, some awards. We're going to have a keynote speaker and some really, really good panels. We just celebrated Lunar New Year, which actually is still carrying on. Huey, what's going on with Lunar New Year? Happy Lunar New Year to you, my friend. Where can anyone find some stuff about Lunar New Year on Workplace? I love that. So for anyone that's not going to shareholders, you are now, because we want you there. And there are some links available. If you go to Workplace, check out the Shareholder Summit. You can vote for who you want to see on stage. Who else is doing that? And then you can also take advantage of the early bird tickets. So those are still available, I think, through the weekend. Don't quote me on it. I would buy the ticket today. They are running out of those early bird tickets. And this year you could bring someone with you that is non-EXP for free, so they can check out and experience what it would be like to be at EXP Realty, experience the culture, experience the knowledge sharing that we all do, and the networking opportunities in real life, in person, before they even join. So check that out. And it was great to be with you all today. Please reach out to me anytime that you'd want to connect. I'm on Workplace, Jessica Nieto. Thank you all on the stage. Appreciate you, and can't wait to see you next time.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you,
Thank
Brian.
you.
I want to thank all of you icons for coming today. You did a fabulous job. This was absolutely amazing. Each and every one of you bring value every minute of the conversation. Thank you all for joining us out there in the audience. And if you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button. Down in the chat is a form for you to fill out on a survey, and we would appreciate that from you. Bring a friend. Come back next week. We will see you here. If y'all want to get up here and dance with me, it's /dance. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you.
3 hugs. Yep. Please fill out the review form. We love feedback. We live for it. We need it.
It is the air we breathe. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you,
Have
Brian.
a good one.
So glad to hang with you. We'll see you next time.
Awesome.